What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you a review for the movie Velvet Buzzsaw.
Critique is so limiting and emotionally draining.
Velvet Buzzsaw is a movie directed by Dan Gilroy starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo. This movie is the second collaboration between Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo and Dan Gilroy, and I believe if you guys have watched the movie Nightcrawler, you'll know kind of the dynamic between these three when they get together behind a camera and in front of a camera. And Nightcrawler was a really fantastic film. It was a really fantastic look into the world of the news network and news media, and I think this movie is a really fun look into the art world and art criticism and just a nice commentary on art in general. Velvet Buzzsaw is a movie where a man mysteriously dies, leaving behind all of his artwork, and this artwork has this influence over the art world and shakes the art world, and when it is in the hands of the wrong people, it will kill them. Then you get a horror/thriller directed fantastically by Dan Gilroy. When I say that this movie is fantastically directed, I mean that Dan Gilroy has a way behind the camera. He knows how to shoot things, he knows how to make things effective, and he knows how to work his actors. All that being said, did I love this movie? Did I think that this movie lived up to the hype that I created for myself for this movie when I saw the first trailer? No, it did not live up to those expectations that I had, but then again, I usually go into things with very high or very low expectations, and knowing that this was a reunion between the director and actor relationship from Nightcrawler to this movie, I was expecting a lot, and I think it was wrong for me to do that, and I think it was also wrong for me to watch the trailer, because if you've watched the trailer, you know that it exposes a lot about the movie. So don't watch the trailer, avoid the trailer at all costs, and I would say that most modern trailers do expose a little bit too much about movies these days, so I would just say be wary, look in the comments of YouTube before you watch trailers these days, because you'll be surprised by how much trailers will spoil things. So that's the modern day. Sometimes people show a little too much, and sometimes you get hurt for that in your experience watching the movie. So that's just what we have to live with, and yeah, so caution, don't watch the trailer. All that aside, focusing back on the characters and the performances, I think that's probably one of the highlights of this movie. All these characters are eccentric, they're rich, they're greedy, they're assholes, and they will stab each other in the back. And I guess that's the world that Dan Gilroy kind of wants to expose, or kind of wants to comment on when it comes to art criticism and when it comes to just art in general. A lot of the times this movie tries to comment on how art can be bought. By that I mean you can be bought out to be one of the best, or you can be bought out to be one of the worst, depending on who critiques your art, who looks at your art, and how a simple review can destroy someone's reputation. And I think that's also commenting on the movie world and commenting on movie criticism, and ironically I'm making a review about a movie that is commenting on those very things. I think this movie does it very well, but it also makes the characters a little bit cartoonish, and a lot of the characters actually lack development. And surprising to say that a lot of the characters that I was going into looking forward to kind of let me a little bit let down. I say that Jake Gyllenhaal, being one of those characters that I was really looking forward to watch, did not really disappoint in his acting. I thought he was a very kooky character, and I felt like his art critique facade was something that he had to hide these insecurities he has about just his general life and how he can't make decisions on his own without reviewing or critiquing them. And I thought that was a really cool examination to his character, and I kind of wish they carried that a little bit further, but I felt like it was so stunted because there were so many other characters in this movie that they were trying to juggle, and so many storylines they were trying to interconnect, that a lot of it got lost, and a lot of the character development kind of went to the side, and in the end you get characters that are a little bit hollow. And maybe that was Dan Gilroy's intention, to kind of comment on how the art world can be hollow and can be facetious and can be greedy. But I think as a movie, you kind of need to flesh out your characters a little bit more. You need to make, when they do come to their demise, that needs to matter, and that needs to kind of connect with the viewer. And for me, a lot of that didn't work out, but I did love the movie visually, and I thought the story was pretty interesting. I've never seen horror done in a way where it involved art, and I thought the deaths were very creative, very pretty, very visually interesting to look at. A lot of the times it reminded me of Annihilation. One death in particular reminded me of the movie Annihilation, and if you can make that connection, then props to you. We see eye to eye. And props, we see eye to eye. That's what I meant to say, eye to eye, not eye to eye. That's not even a saying. Eye to eye. Oh, eye to eye. All that aside, would I recommend going to see this movie, going out of your way to press a button on your remote if you have Netflix to go watch the movie? Yeah, I think this movie has a lot going for it. I think it's very visually interesting. I just think a lot of the characters lack depth, and I think there were a lot of missed opportunities in this movie, but other than that, I think you should go see it. If you have Netflix especially, go see it. It's basically you're paying for it, so it's there, go watch it. But if you don't have a Netflix account and you don't want to illegally download it, then would I recommend going out of your way to see it? No, I wouldn't say spend money on a subscription to Netflix to go see this movie, but if you're at your friend's house, he has a Netflix account and you want to watch it, yeah, great. Maybe it's an even good Netflix and chill movie. I would say so. Would I say it's a good movie you can go over to your friend's house and watch on Netflix? Yes, go watch it with them. But would I say spend hard money on it? Nah, I wouldn't do that, but you don't have to, it's on Netflix. Now, I don't particularly have a rating system or a grade scale for movies or for anything that I'm reviewing, because I'm kind of loosely just recommending or not recommending things right now, but I will be trying to create a system. I don't know if people like letter grades, I don't know if people like numbers, I don't know if people like the thumbs up, thumbs down situation. I don't know, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, and sometimes I don't want to be limited to those things. So, I don't know where I'm going to go with that rating system, but I do want to create a basis for my reviews so that you guys have a sort of idea on what my recommendation kind of scales on, because that's kind of the notion for most people. I would say don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes that can be skewed. A lot of the critics can be paid and bought out from what I hear. I don't know, but look at the audience score. A lot of the times that's kind of where I get my recommendations from. But actually more nowadays, I actually avoid Rotten Tomatoes at all costs before I watch a movie, just because I feel like that small little percentage can sometimes skew my interest. So I don't want any of that. I don't really like other people's opinion kind of pushing my opinion or swaying my opinion, and I like to say that I'm steadfast in what I think and what I believe, but a lot of the time, sometimes these words can get attached to your brain before you go into something, and they can kind of make you implode. So I don't want that to happen. So I go in fresh and I come out with my own opinion, and if it matches others, then that's a great thing, and I think that's how we should all do it. So go in with your own fresh take, and yes, I will be creating that grade scale or a rating system, but until then, I would recommend going to see this, but I would not recommend paying money for it. So thank you guys once again for joining me in this review, and if you want to see more reviews, then come back to my channel, subscribe, like, do whatever you want. But yeah, this is a happy place for reviews. So thank you guys, and once again, I'll see you later.